Have you ever felt like you were acting in a play, smiling and making small talk with people you know deep down don't like you? That feeling of fakeness and suffocation is not unfamiliar to us. It's painful to realize that, instead of facing things directly, many people choose to hide their dislike behind fake smiles, empty compliments, and forced politeness. I've been in that situation, trusting someone as a friend, only to discover they were secretly hoping for my failure. That feeling is truly terrible. But these experiences taught me an important lesson. If you don't recognize the signs, you'll waste valuable time and energy on people who don't truly understand and appreciate you. This isn't a pep talk video or empty words of encouragement. This is a frank conversation, sometimes uncomfortable, but necessary. Together, we'll explore the signs that someone doesn't like you but is trying to hide it. Remember, facing the truth, no matter how difficult, is better than living in illusion. Part 1. Joking or deliberate put-downs. The first sign, one of the most subtle expressions, is harmless jokes about your flaws. We all know people who like to tease, especially when that teasing is directed at you. They'll mock your differences, mistakes, or even your deepest insecurities, then laugh and say, "I'm just kidding." At first glance, these jokes seem harmless, but don't be fooled. They often conceal calculated punches, disguised as humor, aimed at slowly lowering your self-esteem. I vividly remember someone who used to be very close to me, always having something to comment on about me. From my clothes and voice to the projects I was working on, nothing escaped their scrutiny. Initially, I tried to laugh it off, thinking they were just playful jokes. But later, I noticed a pattern. These jokes always targeted my weaknesses, never my strengths. This gradually made me lose confidence, wondering if I was really that bad. And here's the controversial part. People who constantly joke about your flaws don't do it because they care about you. In fact, they're testing the waters, seeing how much disrespect you'll accept. It's a subtle form of manipulation, a way for them to assert their superior position and keep you in line. They're implicitly telling you, "I'm better than you," indirectly. The most frightening thing is that they often get away with it easily because we've been taught that if you don't know how to joke, you're the one with the problem. But I want you to change that mindset. There's nothing wrong with standing up for yourself when a joke crosses the line. On the contrary, it's essential. You deserve to be around people who lift you up, not those who want to bring you down for a cheap laugh. True friends don't need to point out your flaws to feel better about themselves. They appreciate your strengths and help you overcome your weaknesses without making you a laughingstock. I've witnessed too many cases where people let these jokes slide because they're afraid of losing face, afraid of disturbing the peace. But the truth is, when you allow others to disrespect you, even with a joke, you're going down a slippery slope. It starts with small comments, but over time, they will undermine you, making you doubt your self-worth. The more you give in, the more they encroach until you lose all your confidence. I paid the price for giving in too. I realized that when I laughed it off, I was allowing them to continue. I was complicit in that disrespect. Only when I began to push back and set boundaries did I see a change. Not only did their behavior toward me change, but also my perception of myself. I no longer let their words define me. So my advice is this. Next time someone jokes about you, don't rush to laugh it off. Ask yourself, is this joke really funny or is there something else behind it? If the answer is, something isn't right, don't be afraid to speak up. It might be uncomfortable, even end a relationship, but your self-respect is worth far more than meaningless jokes. Life is too short to spend with people who don't appreciate your value. If their definition of friendship is constantly criticizing your flaws, it's time to find new friends. People who truly care about you won't need to put you down to feel better about themselves. Hold your head high, Speak up, and don't let anyone turn you into a joke. Part 2. Sweet compliments that sting. The second sign, sweet compliments that contain hidden punches. Have you ever received a compliment that, instead of making you happy, felt bitter, like a light slap in the face? It's the kind of praise that makes you pause and think, is this actually praise or criticism? In reality, sometimes it's both. These backhanded compliments are a subtle way for people to put you down while pretending to be kind. I remember when I was working on a big project that I was very proud of. After all my efforts, I shared it with a colleague. Someone I thought was always supportive said with a smile, "Oh, this is okay. Considering someone like you did it, it's really good." I froze for a few seconds. While the word seemed like a compliment, the phrase, "considering someone like you," made me feel like I'd been punched hard. What did they mean? Was I not capable of doing good things? And here's the controversial part. These backhanded compliments always contain a hidden motive. They are not meant to lift you up, but to keep you in your place. It's a power play, a way for others to assert their position and make you doubt your abilities. They're implicitly telling you, "I see you're trying, but you'll never be as good as me." It's toxic, but it's wrapped in such a beautiful gift box that we almost overlook the poison inside. People who give these types of compliments are often very insecure. They see your potential, your strengths, and it scares them. So they use teasing words to keep you in second place and make you doubt yourself. It's like they're patting you on the back with one hand while the other is holding you down. And here's the even more controversial point. All of us have made that mistake. Maybe unintentionally, but sometimes we let our insecurities leak out under the guise of compliments that remind others of their position. But there is a profound message I want to send to you. You don't have to accept this veiled hostility. You have the right to reject it. See it for what it really is, a reflection of someone else's insecurity, not a measure of your value. When someone says, "You seem smarter than I thought," or "This is good, especially for a beginner like you," you don't have to swallow it. Confront it, even if it's awkward, because if you don't, you're letting others decide how you see yourself. And that's a right you should never give away to anyone. I've learned to recognize those backhanded compliments. It only reflects the insecurities of the other person. When I understood this, it no longer hurt me. Instead of dwelling on it, I just laugh it off, because after all, their words say more about them than about me. Now, when I receive backhanded compliments, I don't let them slide. I'll respond with a question like, "Thank you, but what do you mean by that?" This forces them to confront the insult in their words. Usually, they become flustered. They suddenly realize you're not playing their game, and surprisingly, their attitude changes quickly. The lesson here is not to let hidden negativity affect you. Whether it's a kind friend, a jealous colleague, or even a family member, remember, your value is not up for debate. Compliments should lift you up, not bring you down. If someone's words make you doubt yourself, it's time to question their motives. Life is too short to waste on people who can't genuinely celebrate your success. Surround yourself with people who see your worth and aren't afraid to show it without any strings attached. Part 3. Subtly left out of the loop. The third sign, you are subtly excluded from plans. The smallest things often cause the deepest wounds, like realizing your friends accidentally forgot to invite you to dinner, a party, or a weekend trip. They will swear it was an oversight, a last-minute decision, or worse, they'll assume you're too busy. But let's face the truth. This is not an accident. It's a form of subtle social exclusion, and it's a clear sign that you're not as valued as you think. I've gone through this many times. I remember one weekend browsing my phone and seeing pictures of a group of friends having fun at an event I really wanted to attend. And the thing is, none of them mentioned the event to me beforehand. When I asked about it, they started giving reasons like, "We thought you were busy," or "the plans were too last minute." But deep down, I knew the truth. If they wanted me there, they would have made sure I knew about it. And here's the controversial point. This exclusion isn't just carelessness. It's a deliberate act. It's a way to send a message without saying a word. They don't want you there, but they don't have the courage to tell you directly. Instead, they hope you'll quietly disappear from the group without causing a fuss. It's a passive-aggressive behavior, cowardly, but very common. People rarely talk about this because it's easier to pretend it's not happening. They choose to believe the excuses, convincing themselves that it's just an oversight rather than facing the painful truth that they're being pushed out. But remember, if you keep accepting these excuses, you're allowing them to keep excluding you. You're letting them decide your place in their lives instead of taking control of your own story. I learned this lesson the hard way. For a while, I was silent, letting those accidents pass, hoping I would be invited next time. But then I realized that by staying silent, I was allowing myself to be treated as surplus. So I did something controversial. I started questioning them. I'd say, "Hey, I saw everyone went out this weekend. Why didn't anyone invite me?" It wasn't easy. It made things awkward, but it also forced them to confront their behavior. And you know what? Things changed. Some people became defensive, others tried to make amends. But most importantly, I no longer let them exclude me without a fight. The profound message here is this: if other people want you in their life, they'll make an effort to include you, no matter how last minute the plans are. And if they don't, it's time for you to reconsider the value of that relationship. You deserve to be with people who don't make you feel like you always have to chase after their acceptance or attention. True friends don't forget to invite you, but they make sure you're there because they actually like having you around. If you find yourself being subtly excluded, don't ignore it. Confront it, ask the tough questions, and be prepared for the answers, even if they're not what you expect. Because in the end, knowing your true position is always better than constantly wondering why you were left out again. Remember, you're not a backup plan, you're a priority. Surround yourself with people who treat you that way. Part 4, busy, only when it involves you. The fourth sign, they're only busy when it involves you. We're all too familiar with the phrase, "I'm so busy these days, sorry I can't hang out." It's a perfect excuse because who isn't busy? But what happens when you start to notice a pattern? They always have time for others, posting pictures of going out, talking to mutual friends. But when it involves you, they suddenly become buried. Here's the truth. They're not too busy. They're just too busy for you. I've been in this uncomfortable situation many times. I remember contacting a very close friend, trying to arrange a time to meet up. Every time I suggested it, they had an excuse. "I'm working overtime. I have too many things to do. Let's do it next week." Meanwhile, I would see them going out with other people, happily enjoying life, always finding time for everyone but me. It took me a long time to recognize this pattern. The message they sent me was clear. I'm no longer a priority in their life. And here's the controversial part. We often accept busy as a valid reason for being pushed aside. But let's be honest, people always have time for the things and people they care about. If someone is constantly busy when it involves you, it's not about their schedule, it's about their priorities. This is a hard truth to accept because it forces you to confront the fact that you're no longer as important to them as they once were to you. The truth is, busy is often just a polite way of saying, "I don't want to spend time with you." It's easier to blame the schedule than to admit they're not choosing you in their life. It's a passive-aggressive way of keeping you at a safe distance without facing the arguments if they tell the truth. They want to keep you in check, just in case, but don't want to truly invest in that relationship. I've been on both sides. There have been times when I was the one making excuses because I didn't know how to tell someone I no longer wanted to maintain the friendship. But being rejected has taught me a valuable lesson. Honesty is better even if it is harder than deceiving someone. When I called my friend and told the truth, the conversation was very awkward but necessary. It gave me the clarity I needed to move on and invest my time and energy in relationships where I'm appreciated. The profound message here is, your time is valuable, and so is your energy. Don't waste it on people who can't make time for you. If someone is constantly too busy for you, it's time to reevaluate that relationship. You deserve to be with people who want to see you, people who make the effort to have you in their life. It's important to realize that people change, and so do relationships. Sometimes we hold on to someone because of habit, the past, or fear of loneliness, even when they've clearly shown they don't need us anymore. But remember, there's great power in letting go, in acknowledging that you deserve more than someone's leftover time. This isn't about being demanding or dramatic, but about valuing yourself enough to walk away from those who don't value you. Part 5. Allergic to physical contact. The fifth sign. They avoid physical contact like the plague. Let's talk about something sensitive. Physical contact, or rather the lack thereof. We're not just talking about romantic relationships. Physical touch is a basic human interaction, a way to connect and build trust. So what does it mean when someone intentionally avoids even the slightest touch? The answer is not pleasant. They're sending a clear signal that they're uncomfortable being near you, and it's time you took notice. I used to have a colleague who seemed to recoil every time I reached out to shake their hand or give them a friendly pat on the shoulder. At first, I thought I was imagining it, but then I noticed that it wasn't just me. They were warm and comfortable with everyone else. So when they were faced with me, they treated me like I was infected. Before long, I realized that this avoidance wasn't just a quirky habit, but a deliberate attempt to keep me at a distance. And here's the controversial point. Physical contact is a natural part of human interaction, and when someone consistently avoids it, they are showing a lack of comfort or connection. Some people may not like touching, which is normal, but when it's selective, when they can hug others but freeze up when they are near you, it's a warning sign that something is wrong. They may not dislike you enough to say it, but their body language speaks volumes. We've all been on both sides. Maybe you've avoided shaking hands or backed away when someone came too close because you didn't like it. Or maybe you've been the one who felt avoided and wondered why people recoiled when you were around. It's uncomfortable, it's awkward, and it's often a sign that the relationship isn't as solid as you think. But let's be clear. Physical touch is a fundamental part of connection. It's how we show trust, warmth, and empathy. When someone avoids it with you, they're not just avoiding the touch, they're avoiding closeness, intimacy, and vulnerability. They are keeping you at a safe distance, both literally and figuratively, and that is a clear sign that there is an underlying problem in the relationship. I've learned to pay attention to these signs, no matter how hard they may be to accept. There have been times when I've ignored these signs, convincing myself that the hesitation was just a personality quirk. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized it was about me and about our relationship. When I confronted the situation, it led to some difficult conversations, and in some cases, to the end of the relationship. But it also freed me from the discomfort of not understanding why things felt so off. So, don't ignore this sign. When someone avoids physical touch with you, it's not just a personal preference, it's a statement about their comfort level with you. If you notice this pattern, don't be afraid to speak up. It might help you understand things better, or it might reveal that the relationship is not as solid as you thought. Either way, Facing the truth is better than living in denial. Remember, you deserve relationships where physical touch isn't something to avoid, but something that happens naturally and comfortably. Whether it's a friendly hug, a handshake, or just sitting close together without feeling awkward, these small gestures build trust and connection. If someone consistently avoids it, that's a sign that something's wrong. Don't hesitate to ask the tough questions, and if necessary, make the tough decisions. Life is too short to be surrounded by people who keep you at a distance, both literally and figuratively. Part 6. Vanishing when you need help. The sixth sign, they vanish when you need help. Nothing reveals the true nature of a relationship more than times of crisis. When things get tough, you realize who your real friends are. So what does it mean when someone evaporates the moment you need help the most? It's not just a sign of neglect, but a warning that they don't value you as much as you think. And let's be honest, when someone disappears when you're in a dark place, it's not just hurtful, it's a betrayal. I learned this with a painful lesson. During a difficult period, I was facing a major personal issue, something that really brought me down. Naturally, I reached out to my close friends hoping for some help, even if it was just a message asking how I was doing, a quick call. But what was my response? Silence. The people I trusted suddenly had plenty of excuses. I'm too busy. I have too many things to do. I'll get back to you later. And of course, they never did. And here's the controversial point. People like to say they'll always be there for you, but when things get tough, many of them are only there for the good times. They will party with you, laugh with you, and enjoy the wonderful moments in your life. But when things get real, they disappear. It's easier for them to avoid you than to deal with your pain or inconvenience. They don't want to get caught up in your trouble, because deep down, they don't care enough to be there when needed. And let's be frank, real help is not convenience, but being there when things are difficult, when you don't want to be, and when you feel most inconvenient. People who disappear when you need them are not only careless, but they're showing you exactly where you stand in their lives. They're telling you that your trouble isn't worth my time. I used to feel extremely disappointed when I realized that the people I had helped in the past didn't bother to care about me when I needed it. It was a wake-up call, and not a pleasant one, but it was a lesson I needed to learn. Not everyone who smiles at you is really on your side. Support is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. It's easy to be around when everything is good, but the real test of a relationship is how people respond when things go wrong. If someone disappears when you need them, they're not only letting you down, but they're showing you they were never truly there for you. But don't let their absence make you bitter. Let it make you better. Use it as a filter to get rid of the people who don't deserve a place in your life. People who are always there, people who check on you, people who show up even when it's not convenient. These are the people who really matter, and these are the relationships you should cherish. Life is too short to invest in fair-weather friends. Surround yourself with people who will be there for you when storms hit, not just when the sun is shining. Because when you find those rare people who are willing to be there for you when things are tough, you have found something worth keeping. As for those who have disappeared, just let them go. They've already shown you who they really are. Part 7. Talking behind your back. The seventh sign. They gossip about you behind your back. Gossip is a social poison that spreads like wildfire and can burn through relationships instantly. The problem is, gossip is never as innocent as people think. When someone you consider a friend talks badly about you behind your back, they're not just sharing a harmless story, they're actively destroying your trust, reputation, and relationships. And let's be honest, when someone gossips about you, it's a clear sign they don't respect you, no matter how friendly they may seem. I've been the target of gossip, and I can tell you, it's one of the most painful experiences. There was a time when I confided in someone I thought was a close friend about a personal issue. I needed to vent, and I trusted this person would keep it confidential. But just a few days later, the details of that conversation started to spread, distorted and exaggerated. It was like a game of broken telephone, but instead of being lost, the message was weaponized against me. The person I trusted turned my vulnerability into entertainment for others. And here's the controversial truth. People who gossip about you are not just venting or sharing concerns. They are playing a power game. Gossip is a way for them to elevate their own position while putting you down, without having to confront you directly. It's cowardly, manipulative, and toxic. They're not only damaging your reputation, but also undermining the foundation of trust in a real relationship. And let's be clear, people who gossip about others with you will also gossip about you with others. It's a habit, not a one-time thing. I've seen it happen too many times. Someone who loves to gossip about everyone suddenly goes silent when they're near you. And you know what? They're probably gossiping about you when you're not there. It's the worst kind of betrayal, because it's done in the shadows, without giving you the chance to defend yourself or even know what's happening. And this is where I want to share a more personal story. I remember confronting a friend who gossiped behind my back. I was expecting an apology, or at least an explanation. But instead, they acted like it wasn't a big deal, brushing it off as a harmless joke. But remember, gossip is never harmless. It's a betrayal, plain and simple, and it says more about the person spreading it than the person being talked about. Gossip is a secret weapon. It sneaks into the deepest corners of your soul and corrupts the relationships you cherish most. I've been a victim of those backstabbing words. I felt small, weak, and lost. But those experiences have taught me a valuable lesson. Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. There are people who are quietly destroying you with sweet words and fake smiles. So never let gossip bring you down. Remember, your value is not determined by what others say about you. You are the only one who has the right to define yourself. And don't be afraid to stand up for yourself when you're being violated. Confront those who talk badly about you. Tell them you don't accept that behavior. It may be difficult, but it is necessary to protect your self-esteem. Life is too short to invest in relationships based on betrayal and lies. Surround yourself with people who value you and are willing to talk directly to you, not behind your back. When you find true friends, you'll realize that there are still good things in this world to believe in and love. And now, we've gone through the 7 signs that someone may not like you, but is trying to hide it. I know these things can be hard to accept. They can make you feel sad, angry, or frustrated. But remember, recognizing the truth is always the first step to change. This isn't a video to make you suspicious or pessimistic. Rather, it's an invitation to see through your relationships, to make wiser decisions. You deserve to be with people who truly value you, those who lift you up, and those who are always honest with you, no matter how difficult the truth may be to hear. Don't waste your time and energy on people who only want to exploit you, put you down, or secretly hope for your failure. Be strong, let go of toxic relationships, and open your heart to those who truly deserve a place in your life. Through my experiences, I have learned some important lessons that I want to share with you. Trust your intuition. Don't ignore your gut feelings. Sometimes your intuition is more perceptive than you think. Observe actions over words. Words can lie, but actions don't. Pay attention to how people treat you instead of what they say. Don't be afraid to set boundaries. You have the right to protect yourself from disrespect. Don't be afraid to lose face with someone. Your self-respect is far more important. The most important thing I want you to take away after watching this video is that you have a choice. You have the right to choose the people you want to be with, and you have the right to refuse people who don't treat you well. Never think that you have to accept bad treatment just because you're afraid of being alone or because you feel guilty. It's not your fault. You deserve to be loved, respected, and treated kindly. If someone can't give you those things, then that's their problem, not yours. It may be difficult to let go of relationships that have lasted for years, or people you once loved so much. But remember, letting go doesn't mean you're a failure, but that you're choosing a better future for yourself. Sometimes you need to close one door so another can open. I understand, facing the truth is sometimes painful, but it's also an opportunity for you to grow, to become stronger. Don't be afraid of change. Embrace it with an open heart and an optimistic spirit. In addition to the signs already mentioned, I want to delve deeper into some other aspects related to this topic. The impact of the environment. The environment around us has a huge influence on how we treat each other. A toxic environment where competition and jealousy are encouraged can increase negative behaviors. Ask yourself if these relationships are taking place in a healthy environment. Incompatibility. Sometimes no one is at fault. It's just that two people are not compatible with each other. This is perfectly normal. Don't try to change other people or try to please everyone. Accept that some relationships simply don't work out, and it's not your fault. Their problem, not yours. Remember that how others treat you is often a reflection of who they are, not a measure of your value. If someone treats you badly, it's their problem, their insecurity and negativity, not because you're not good enough. Don't let it define you. Self-care. Don't just focus on recognizing people who don't like you, but take time to take care of yourself. Focus on the things that bring you joy, nurture healthy relationships, and learn to love and appreciate yourself. The power of forgiveness. Although this may seem contradictory, forgiveness doesn't mean you accept bad treatment. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from bitterness and resentment. Forgiving others is for your own sake, not for theirs. It helps you feel lighter and opens up a brighter future. Intentional action. Recognizing the signs is the first step, but you also need to take action. Don't hesitate to confront people who don't treat you well. Tell them how you feel, set boundaries, and if necessary, cut off the relationship. Don't be afraid of change. Believe that you deserve better. Seek support. Don't feel like you have to face this alone. Reach out to people you trust, people who can listen and support you. If necessary, seek the help of a therapist for advice and support. Learn to recognize healthy relationships. Remember, a healthy relationship will make you feel valued, loved, and like yourself. Observe these relationships and learn from them. There is nothing wrong with you changing. Don't be afraid to change your perspectives and feelings. You are someone who is developing and improving, and that is perfectly normal. If a relationship no longer suits you, it's not your fault. You are never alone. There are many people out there who will value and love you for who you are. Open your heart, trust, and embrace new relationships. I know this video might make you feel uncomfortable. It might even make you sad. But I hope that after watching it, you will feel stronger, more confident, and more determined. You are a special and valuable person, and you deserve the best in life. Never let anyone tell you otherwise. Believe in yourself, love yourself, and create a life you are proud of. Remember, you are not alone on this journey. There are many other people out there who are going through similar things, and there are many people who are always ready to support you. Connect, share, and together build a world where kindness and love are always prioritized. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you found it helpful, please share it with the people you care about. And if you want to share your thoughts, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. I am always happy to hear from you. I'll see you in the next video.